Welcome everyone to Living Authentically, Becoming Your True Self, the podcast where we explore what it really means to live, speak and lead from your kindness and truth. I'm your host, Sue Whitaker. I am a life transitions and identity coach, and I guide individuals through significant life changes, helping them to rediscover their true selves and embrace new beginnings with confidence and clarity. Today's episode is all about professional identity. So what do I mean by that? Well, I mean the career choices that you've made, what skills and expertise you invest in, as well as your work ethic, professional values and reputation that you may have chosen to display in the workplace. To help me explore this topic further, I have our guest speaker, Riz, who is a leadership coach, mentor and trainee and creator of the Purposeful Professional, to share her experience and insights today. So hello, Riz. How are you doing?
Hi, Sue. I'm doing really, really well. Excited to be on the podcast, definitely.
Excellent. Thank you for being here. So let's dive straight into it then. So do you want to tell us a little bit about where your journey has started and how this works for you from a professional perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to have to give you some context because it goes back quite a bit. So, brace yourself. That's what I'm going to say. or pour yourself a cup of coffee. So the Purposeful Professional is my new venture. That's the kind of the stuff that I'm doing now around my coaching and supporting professionals to live with purpose. But I kind of got to that point through a lot of self-reflection, a lot of trials and tribulations, and some difficult experiences. So if I start there, then I can give you some context around how this all came about. So I mentioned in my bio to you that I've been heavily involved in the substance misuse field, where I have been very much involved in supporting people on their recovery journeys. And I've been doing that for approximately 10 years now, which feels like a very, very long time, but it's gone so quick. And the experiences that I've had within that field have just been phenomenal. So it all started back when we identified in our family that my sibling had drug addiction issue, and I didn't know how to deal with it, if I'm going to be totally honest with you, in that moment in time. Mm-hmm. And especially with the stigma around the cultural stuff and just not knowing. And actually, it was all very alien for us in that moment in time. And so what I decided to do is that how can I turn this into a positive experience, I guess. So what I did is I ended up doing my degree a little bit later on in life, and I did a drug and alcohol counselling degree. And through that degree, I got a 2-year placement at a charity in Northamptonshire called Change, Grow, Live.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. What was that about?
Yeah. So it was supporting people in addiction, active addiction. And it was my way of, I guess, controlling a situation that I had no control over.
Yeah.
I think one of the things for me, especially for one of the things that I really struggle is if I don't have control over a situation, I'm just thinking, what else can I do to make this situation better? And so I started this role at CGL and grew to love it. I got offered a role there, and I proceeded to then work in Kettering as a recovery coordinator who coordinates exactly what it says in the title, service users recovery journeys. And through that, I learned so much about myself. While things were happening at home, it was almost like a bit of fuel to just help me get through some of those real dark days, because when you've got a sibling in addiction, one thing you have to realize is they've got to be ready to make those changes. And I had no locus of control over that at all. It was literally up to him. And so I wanted to utilize my skill to support my family to understand what addiction was about and to develop some empathy around that situation, but also plow it into something positive. Yeah, it was. I mean, you say wow, but I could definitely tell you at the time it didn't feel like that at all. It just felt like, oh my God, like how are we ever going to get through this? So it was awful.
So can I just ask then a little bit, because clearly you've had a long journey through this, and it's fascinating to hear, because I have no experience of this, thankfully, or I guess is that How did you realise that your family member um, was addicted? What did you know straight away, or were there
There
telltale
was,
signs or anything, or what
yeah,
did
I mean,
you
I
think?
think initially I was kind of blind to it because I didn't know what to look out for, right? So prior to going into uni and doing the degree, I was very much blind to it. It was like, oh, can I have a tenner or can I have a tenner? And I was a bit like, what's going on? Like, yeah. And I think part of you knows, but the other part of you just wants to ignore it. And obviously, within this whole situation, we had the fact that, you know, my mum, unfortunately, I lost my mum at a very young age. So this was kind of happening while she was here, but
Oh,
it just
sorry to
obviously
hear that. Yeah,
got progressively worse for him. I mean, he dealt with it in his way and, you know, he's doing a lot better now. But for me at the time, it was just chaos. I was like, oh my God, like what's going on? And then that realization came when it was like, oh my God, you know, when the penny drops and everything just falls into place and you know that this is what's going on a much deeper level. And I supported him to get some treatment and get some support around it. And that kind of almost was my journey into working in substance misuse, which I am still doing till today.
wow.
So yeah, it
Okay,
was all
yeah,
born out of the challenges that my family experienced through a sibling who was struggling with drug addiction. And that's where my interest in this came. So I guess it was quite purposeful from day dot.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it wasn't just a case of, oh, I like the look of this job, I'm going to apply for it, let's go for it. It was almost like a calling, if I'm being totally honest with you. It was very much fit like a glove for me. The connections with the service users, the accurate empathy through supporting them through their journeys, and being an active part in supporting them to get to a point of abstinence or to a point of purpose where they're becoming more functional in society and being able to create those connections with their families and eventually coming back to work for us has been like a whole 360 cycle. Um,
and
it
and I
was
think that's the important thing is what you picked up on there is about a calling, you know. So I think a lot of people, particularly, you know, when we say that we're coaches, you know, a lot of the reasons why we are coaches is because we are trying to support people that have probably been in that situation before. So, you know, one of the reasons why I talk about life transitions is because I've had a number of life transitions. And I don't just mean, you know, like what coffee should I have today, or, you know, like whether I should go left or right
yeah,
round certain things, but actually really fundamental changes, you know, like chronic illness
yeah,
diagnosis, or, you know, as you said, a family member having a really, you know, debilitating condition for whatever reason, um, and how you have to deal with it and the family. So I empathize on that because I've got it right now where a family member has got a really horrible condition,
yeah.
and we it's not just about supporting that person, but it's supporting everybody around them as well.
Absolutely. I think you're right. It's kind of, you kind of want to go and get the tools to learn about whatever the condition is, be it addiction or be it sort of debilitating illness as such. But I guess that gives you the power in that moment. And for me, it was like, okay, so if I can get as much resource and as much knowledge as I possibly can around this, it will make the experience of everybody else around me that little bit easier at the sacrifice of myself. But then that's how I used to see it. But now I actually see it as, like you were saying, that calling, that whole, you've been through it, so you kind of understand it, so you're able to support other people to go through that. And that transitioning was probably one of the things that broke me in a lot of ways, but also made
Mm,
me in a lot of ways, because it was very difficult. And I can only say from what you're saying in terms of your family member and having to kind of hold everything up, is that where's your power in that? And I guess that's the bit that I'm looking at, is where's your power in all of this? You know, even though this circumstance is happening to you, where's your power within it? Same as if you're having to work in a corporate grind, where's your power within that role? Do you know what I mean? Because
mm,
not everybody has a calling. People do have to put food on the table and pay bills. And for me, it's all about finding that purpose, finding those little bits of purpose in the day that makes your work meaningful to a point where you're not existing. Because
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me, existing and just sleeping through life and coasting through life is one thing that I want to try and support people with is waking up and actually thinking, wow, am I actually connected to my purpose? Am I connected to my values? And I think that's why my role has always felt a lot more than just work.
yeah, yeah.
There's, yeah, it's, there's been a core purpose.
And
And,
I can hear that passion in your voice as well.
oh, right.
You
Yeah.
start talking about purpose and as you say, passion and things like that, and I can start to hear it come through as well. So I feel like we started it like really quite. Oh, these are some deep things here that you've got going on. But then, one of the things that comes to my mind is you were talking about leadership. So is that kind of the point where you decided to be a leader for yourself, or to be your family's leader? How did
Yeah.
that kind of come about?
Yeah. So I think naturally being the eldest,
Mm,
being the eldest sibling out of three and the only girl, I think naturally I kind of led into that whole, well, mom's not around anymore, so I've got to take that ownership of everything. My dad was present, but he had his own things going on at the time, and I kind
right.
of just sort of stepped into that, and that just kind of became part and parcel of my identity. It was kind of almost like a role that I would play in every given situation. Do you know what I mean? When you're
Mm,
with friends or even unintentionally, it just would happen. And I think that's through conditioning from a really young age. And so the whole transition into leadership came from being a recovery coordinator and then realizing, actually, do you know what? I could potentially explore going into leadership. And then lo and behold, it was almost like a gift from the universe, if that's what you want to call it, is I had an
yeah,
opportunity for a secondment position while a colleague of mine went off for maternity leave. And I thought, you know what, it's now or never.
yeah.
And it was almost like, this is your second transition, if that's what you want to call it. Now let's utilize these skills to support the professionals that you work with. And I did that. And it was one of the, it was exponential growth after that. So it was literally like,
Mm,
I
mm.
met my, I met what I was built to do. Do you know? I mean, I'm
It's
not
it's
saying,
it's really fascinating actually that you're talking about this, because I'm an only child. So when there were issues, when as I started to get older, and obviously more responsible, I was seen as the matriarch almost,
mm,
as parents were getting frailer, to kind of organise things. And in all of my other different social societal group sort of thing, I'm always the one that has to organise things or to take the lead as
yeah.
such. I've always been the one where everybody is happy to do a thing, but but if I don't arrange it, it won't happen.
Yeah.
So I think is that kind of where you're coming from, as that
Yeah.
matriarch
I mean,
kind
I've
of,
got to,
yeah,
absolutely. I think, less now than before, if I'm going to be honest with you, because I think what I've realized is that I used to kind of rescue people because life kind of
yeah,
put you in that position through experiences that you didn't call for. And then so you can get into habit of doing that all the time. So now I'm kind of at a point where I'm a bit like, okay, I need to sort of now put some boundaries in and protect my own sanity and my own energy. And where do my responsibilities stop? Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I've had to
yeah,
kind of really focus on my well-being within all of that because I did get quite poorly throughout the whole thing, and it took me a long time to get well. But in all honesty, it was all down to the fact that I was putting the pressure on myself to be the leader in every single situation. Now I'm okay taking a step back and going, do you know what? I can let go of the reins. As you get more confident in leadership, you tend to let go of the reins and allow your team, let's say if we're talking about the corporate world and just work in general, you allow them to kind of really develop their own skills, have their own autonomy to do things, try things, learn through trial and error. Whereas before I realized I wanted to hold on to everything. And I think that was
yeah,
solely because I was walking from a situation where I had no control and I just wanted to control every outcome. But now I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, okay, let's give that a go. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of done a little bit of a flip. I've become a little bit
Yeah,
more flexible around
yeah,
that.
yeah. I get that. I get that. I
Yeah,
I think this is where you and I are actually very similar in terms of our backgrounds, because I've been on that leadership role. I've been in that leadership role, and I've, as you say, I've actually made myself ill, I'm pretty sure, um, in previous roles professionally, where I've taken on the weight, the authority to do everything. But because I don't necessarily like asking for help, or want to trust other people to help me, I've had to do it all myself, and then I burnt myself out almost as
yeah,
such.
yeah,
Um, Whereas these days, I'm a lot more laid back. If anything, I might be almost too laid back, because I would rather see it fail
yeah,
and make sure that other people realise they've got to step up to the plate than deal with it, than deal with it at the last minute.
yeah,
Um, but I do want to know what's going on. So I've definitely felt that control element that you've talked about, that control element of wanting to have control, wanting to do it all, and and then having to let go. Um, and it's quite empowering, but also it's you've got to step back, haven't you? You've got to
yeah.
really step back and let them make their own mistakes. And I think I'm not a parent, but I think that it can probably be something very similar to a parent and child relationship as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you get that sort of inner tug thinking, oh my God, I want to rescue you. You can't do it like that. But there does come a point where you become so comfortable with what you're doing. And I'm not saying that I always get it right. Please don't get me wrong. It's more the fact that if you don't allow other people to learn, then how are they ever going to grow? And there comes a point where you have to have those boundaries, because with any type of addiction or any sort of kind of chaotic behavior along that nature, if you don't have those boundaries, you'll burn yourself out. And I realized that a lot of that through those horrible experiences, I had quite a lot of transferable skills.
Mm,
And
yeah.
so I'm able to do that now with my team, and realize that, I've got other things that I want to be able to do as well. And the purposeful professional stuff, my coaching business, that was born out of me not aligning with the next corporate promotion, because there was an opportunity for me to step up even higher, and I applied for the role, and then I didn't send the application because I had
Oh,
to sort of ask
really?
myself,
Yeah.
yeah, I had to physically ask myself, Sue, why am I doing this?
Mm,
Why am
mm,
I applying for another role when I know deep down that it doesn't align with me as a person, doesn't align with my personality, just how I work in general? That role is great for whoever likes that sort of stuff. But for me, I'm very much about, I like that connection with people. I like to talk to people. I like to be
mm.
on the shop floor in a lot of ways. And so that was another transitional stage in my life where I thought, well, actually, I can create space for me to create something for myself while I'm still working.
And the interesting piece about what you just said is, and I'd like to share some of my own experience, but one of the things that you mentioned was that you get further away, and the problem that we have, I think, right now with leaders and people in senior corporate roles is that because they're further away from the shop floor, as such, it's almost like they're further away from reality. So, they can sit in a boardroom and say, we should have these opening hours, or we should, only increase the pay to X, Y, or Z. And then you've got people like myself, who was in corporate HR before I started my own business, going, are you, are you not missing the key point here of, that's not going to work for a lot of your workforce?
Yeah, and absolutely. And I wonder how many people just go with that again, coasting
Mm,
through life, just taking promotion upon promotion and not realizing just how misaligned they can feel and feel burnt out as a result of it. Like, so
yeah.
for me, I go into work looking forward to what the day's going to bring rather than, oh my God, I've got to go into work. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were times when I did have that.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
think reducing down my days to 4 days, so taking a pay cut really, to
Mm,
be able to then take a sidestep and try something totally different has been, it's opened so many different doors. I think sometimes we can go through life just blinkered thinking, oh, it's the next promotion and the next promotion and then the next, and then realize, why am I so unhappy? Like, why am I no longer feeling like I want to get up and go into work? Because I feel like I'm living my purpose. I feel
mm,
like, I'm doing something that's connected me to the core of what I'm doing. And coaching is just another facet of that, which is so natural because I'm able to utilize all of my coaching skills with my staff, with the service users when we're short in staff, providing, the training. And that was my thing. That's why I kind of see myself as more of a mentor, a trainer, and a coach. But
yeah.
my whole ethos is about purposeful living. Um,
You're definitely speaking my language
yeah,
there, because
good.
I love the whole, as somebody who corporate HR, learning and development training, etc. How many times I've had to identify and talk to people about the differences between a coach, a mentor, a trainer, etc. And
Mhm.
you're absolutely right. We're all, but we can be all of them, right? Um,
Absolutely.
and but sometimes people won't come to you if you say, I'm going to be your teacher, or I'm going to be your trainer. I think people automatically back away when you suddenly come around training, so unless it's something really fun. And trust me, I've had to train some really dry subjects, and try and make them fun. Um, People don't like it. But what I really was interested in when you talked about it was promotion after promotion. So my husband, who is actually in pharmaceutical research, it sounds fancy.
Wow.
I don't know if he's actually going to listen to this, but
Sounds very clever.
I say it was so fancy.
Go
He
on.
he's been in it for 25 years plus, and he does not want a promotion. He actually moves away from promotions. So,
Wow.
and he's worked for so many really large corporations, and all they've done is they've gone, oh, you're really good, we'll promote you. And then he goes, I don't want to be promoted. I'm happy with where I am, and etc. And ultimately, he's left jobs because he's been promoted, and
Oh,
they've not
wow.
really listened to what he's wanted.
Yeah.
Um, and now he's a contractor, which means that he gets to do it on his terms. So he's way more happier now
Yeah.
than he was before.
Yeah.
Um, I think, on reflection, I think I probably over promoted myself because it was the thing to do.
Yeah.
And when I started literally at the bottom, HR. I was literally the administrator, writing contracts, whatever, did all the sort of stuff. And then I moved into all the different areas that you're expected to, and sort of climbed up the career ladder, the career path
Yeah.
for that particular role. And then I hit a block because somebody said to me, you'll never get higher than this role because you're not fully qualified. And I was like, right, well, that's clearly my challenge then, isn't it? Challenge
Yeah.
set. And I basically went for, I did it, like you said, with a secondment, and then I
Mm.
got a permanent role. And then I went above that a bit more and a bit more. And then in my last corporate role, I got asked, do I want to actually be the HR director? You know,
Wow.
and I had to think about it, because the problem that I had with the director level role is that it meant that it was even less work life balance than the role I currently had. And I really had to have a think about it, you know.
Yeah.
And then, as it was, there were other elements of my life that came to the forefront that meant that it just wasn't, the career wasn't actually the big thing. But if I'm brutally honest, I think I was probably at least one level too high.
Yeah.
Um, I think I would have preferred to have stayed at a more mid level. But I think a lot of people relate higher level roles and more responsibility to more pay, don't they? And let's
Yeah.
face it, money makes the world go round. So
Yeah, I mean, especially like in my role being a charity as well, and obviously the work that we do, that a lot of people that do come into the role, they've either had some form of personal experience, not all the time, but majority of the time, or they've come through recovery and now they're actually coming through the process of employment and that professional side of things. And I think there comes a point where there's a little bit of a benchmark before you tip into not being happy, because your values and the reasons why you came in were because you had the empathy, you've had that experience, you want to make differences to people's lives. And then what happens is, as you get further and further up, it becomes less and less about the people, it becomes more and more about the processes and contracts and da 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 da. And so you then have to sort of ask yourself, why am I feeling burnt out? Or why am I not feeling like enlightened by the work that I'm doing anymore? And that's the bit that that's the bit that I'd love to coach professionals with, is because have you connected back to your values again? Your values can change, and there might be some values that are misaligning and misfiring, and hence the reason why you're burning out, because what you deemed it to be on paper is not what it is when you're actually doing it, right? And so
yeah,
and
yeah,
and I could have quite easily fallen into that trip, because like yourself, I probably could have done it, maybe would have had a good chance of getting it, and then realized, oh no, this is not what I want. And
mm, mm,
and being okay with not, because even the pay rise, what does that mean for you? Do you know what I mean? Is it the pay rise?
yeah,
Or is it the, what do you call it, the authority that comes with it, or just how you feel within yourself? For me, I am much happier now doing 4 days a week, being okay with connecting with my staff and my service users than I know I would have been earning a hell of a lot more money and sitting in meetings all day. Do you
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and it's really interesting you talking about it, because I've spoken to people, either clients or other business connections who are very much the same, and they've come away from that corporate bit right now, because at least if they come away from it, um, it's only when they actually have that mindset shift or that mindset change
Yeah,
that allows them to sort of come off the merry-go-round, if you like, or the rat race. And a lot of the times, in my experience, people have actually only come off it when they've got ill, or when something significant life change has happened, and they've needed to step away for a bit, and then they suddenly realise that they could step away.
yeah, yeah, and that it wasn't the be all and end all, right? Like we're led to
Mm,
believe, that this is the way forward and this is how you do it, And I think the whole school system's set up in that way, isn't it? Go to uni, you find your
yeah,
one thing that you want to do, and then you get a job, and then you get a house, and then and it's almost like you're conditioned from a very young age to kind of want to go for that, and it's great. But are you still the same person that you were when you did the degree at 18, now in your mid 40s doing that same role? And I think the sad thing is a lot of people that are doing that and continuing to exist in that, which is absolutely fine. But for me, it just was not the way to go. I thought, no, I've got to break tradition here and try something different. And I'm working, and I have a day off on a Tuesday, hence the reason why I'm speaking to you today,
yeah,
is to do this extra stuff, is because it's the stuff that lights me up. And
mm,
interestingly, last week I was in the catering office, and one of the staff members said to me, do you know what's something different about you, Riz? Like just the way you come in, and the way you engage with people now, and the way you talk to people. And she goes, there's just something different about you. And I said, maybe because I'm connected with my purpose finally. I'm finally doing something that is really lighting me up inside, and you can see it. You radiate that, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I love that when people actually begin to notice as well, just by the energy that you're carrying, right?
Yeah.
So, and do you think a lot of that is because of this new venture that you set up as well? Do you think that's what is sort of sort of that light for you at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think having that work life balance is really important. Obviously, I'm working four
Yeah.
days full time. Tuesdays is, I call it the CEO of my business, um, and I'm learning new things. Learning things that are not easy, like the tech stuff. Um,
Yeah.
as you
Yeah.
figured just before me coming on here, like having a meltdown. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just I'm connecting with amazing people like yourself on the coaching program, etc.
Mm.
And how many doors can open for you? Doors that you potentially would have missed because you're just going through life, going through the motions. Um, I don't know if I had seen that. When they say that your brain filters out what your mind is focusing on. Maybe my mind is my I've got a much more wider vision now, field of vision now. So I know that I have more things available to me. Whereas if I'm working 5 days a week, by the time I get home, I'm too tired to think about what's my next creative plan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I know that one. Yeah. Yeah.
that hasn't come easy. So I've had to,
Mm.
I am by no means in a financial position. I have had to literally look at my budget, not buy clothes, not buy the things that I was just using to kind of give me that superficial satisfaction. And now I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not having these extra takeaways or buying these clothes because I'm fulfilling something that I'm missing because I feel fulfilled in other ways.
And I think that's the key point, isn't it? Is that you're
Absolutely.
not necessarily denying yourself be any joy or
No.
anything in your life. What you're doing is you've just sort of like reset it a little bit or shifted it to the things that matters most to you at
Yeah,
the moment, which I assume
absolutely.
is like time, right? Time is one of our most valuable assets. Um, and they always say that, even when you start off as a self-employed person, they say time is your most valuable asset, and therefore use it wisely. Um, yeah, it doesn't always work. We get as you say, tech issues or something else that ends up causing us more time, but
Yeah,
it does have that very much that feel for it. So yeah.
absolutely.
So talk to me more about the purposeful professional that you set up. So the venture. So you mentioned it a little bit, but just
Yeah.
give us a quick, whistle stop tour, elevator pitch, whatever you like, of what it is, what you're looking to do.
So I'm looking to support professionals. The purposeful professional is an individual who wants a lot more than just a wage pack, a lot more than the next promotion. So I'm supporting professionals to connect with their inner genius, to help them sort of kind of reignite, reset, and kind of go through what I went through in a lot of ways, just to sort of help them identify that are they still connected to doing what they absolutely love, or are they just existing? And for me, it's all about supporting that movement. So it could be in their role that they're already doing, but being more purposeful about it. What is it that you're
Mm,
contributing to that bigger picture? And where's their field of vision? Is it just that narrowed, I'm stuck with this situation, I have to be here because, I need to provide for my family, but also getting them to understand where else that's showing up in life.
yeah.
Because when I'm stressed at work, I don't know about you, Sue, but when I was stressed at work and everything was misaligned and I didn't, like you said, have the time to value my well-being, it was spilling out at home.
Oh
It
yeah.
was
Yeah.
spilling out in the
Absolutely.
choices that I was making around food,
Yes.
the time that I was spending with my child, or the conversations I was having with my partner. Do you know what I mean? And the upkeep of my home, all of that was just fell by the wayside.
Yeah.
It was very much reactionary. Okay, I've had a real shit day at work today. Oh, excuse my French. I'm going to go and get
It's
myself.
okay.
I'm
Yeah.
going to go and get myself a Chinese takeaway,
Mm,
or I'm annoyed because my resistance, my tolerance for people's. I want to use the BS word, but yeah,
yeah. I know what you mean.
it's just narrowed, isn't it? Because you've
Yeah.
just literally you've utilized all your resources at work, and so you miss out on these special things that can come, that can be part and parcel of making life that much more purposeful. And that's why I did Purposeful Professional, but it's
Mm.
so much more than the profession. It's where else that's showing up in your life, that kind of just coasting through life. Let's just keep staying on this hamster wheel.
I
Like,
love that. I love the fact that it starts with a purposeful professional. It starts with the professional world, professional life, but it could spill into practically any other part of their life, right? And I think that's something that we need to acknowledge, that you and I would probably have the same conversations with people, but it might not necessarily start that way. I don't know about you, but if when I've spoken to people, clients, potential clients, whatever, even networking, you could start talking about the professional side, then all of a sudden you get transported into something else that is the real, like, reason why things aren't going well.
100%,
and
100%.
then and then you end up literally going there, and you might end up going, I know nothing about that topic, but I'll listen to you anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it
So,
spills
yeah.
out in your spending habits. I mean, I remember, I mean, prior to being 5 days, I mean, when I was working the 5 days, delivery was my best friend. It was like, oh, let's just do a delivery because I haven't got time. I haven't got the headspace to think about what I'm going to be providing on the table today. So it will be whatever I can provide. And that can't continue, like, because
That's gonna make you feel as well sort of unfulfilled, doesn't it, in that way as well, because you kind of, like, you go to bed at night and you go, oh, I haven't given my family the right nutritional meal that I needed, but I just had no energy or nothing in the tank. And
yeah,
that's got to be quite difficult. I've been there. um, I'm quite lucky at the moment because the husband actually cooks, but
oh,
um,
lovely.
I do say to him, you need some time off or whatever, and you need to be able to take a break, because you can't do it every single day. But that's the problem with the roles we have, isn't it, right? The responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely. I mean, we're so conditioned to kind of get up, get to work, and what we sort of focus on is what our mind gives us. And the more
Mm.
attention we spend on just staying on that narrow path, we miss all of these different little hidden gems that are available to us because we're so blinkered and we all just like, that's the rat race. Let's go, let's go.
So,
Um,
so the kind of people that you're looking to help, are you planning on going into businesses,
yeah, so I really,
and want to do that, or are you planning on trying to, ascertain, individuals sort of themselves from whatever particular sector, or
yeah, I mean, for me, it's about the person, right? It's
mm,
not even about the profession. I know it sounds a little bit contradictory to what I am doing, but actually it's about the person, because if you
yeah,
can connect with that core of that person, everything else then becomes secondary. So for me, it's the plans that I've got is definitely to connect with businesses, but it's also about supporting people that are feeling that way, that are feeling like, oh my god, I'm getting up, is this it? Like, I'm
mm,
literally like existing through life. Have I got anything better? I've got nothing better for me. And it's about opening up their minds to the what is available to them. I think we're
yeah,
stuck in that whole like industrial revolution where everyone went out to work and stuff, but the world's changing, technology's changing. You've got AI that can do a lot of things for you now, unfortunately, but it also has its benefits, right? So I guess for me
yeah,
it's about supporting professionals to see outside of their box, think outside
yes.
of the box, be okay with being creative and designing your own life in a way, designing your own profession in a way, whilst you're still working, or it might even be moving within the role that you're already doing.
And I think that's a really interesting one. And to be honest with you, you know what? I reckon that you and I could actually do a whole other podcast on that. As
Yeah,
somebody who's come in from talent and engagement in the corporate world, and encouraging those natural shifts of people moving to where they want to be, not where the business thinks they want to be, is a really fascinating piece in all of itself. Um,
yeah, absolutely.
so maybe that's the topic for our next discussion to have. We definitely need to have that one.
Oh God,
Um,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I when you think about it, and I just think just that, and that's a kind of ethos that I sort of apply to my staff as well. I like
mm,
them to kind of utilize the skills that they're good at. So I accept that there's some things that I just can't do very well, And so my staff member that loves doing it, I'm like, be my guest, and if that's going to help them connect with their purpose. And often you'll see people move through, they won't be stuck because you've opened up that, oh, I think I can try this. This is different, and supporting somebody's confidence to be able to take the next leap if that aligns with their purpose.
I think that's amazing, and I think that's a really good example of what I wish I could have spoken to more corporate leaders like yourself,
Oh,
that was allowed to act, that would allow their people to move with where they wanted to be and what they wanted to be, because you're the kind of leader that will actually that will have a team that will stay with you because of that, or stay like true to, you'll get a lot of loyalty from those people, because you won't necessarily fit them into a box, like a square peg in a round hole sort of thing,
100%.
and or maybe the other way around, depending on what you want. But yeah, that's really interesting.
No.
So let me come back to your new venture, which sounds exciting. Talk to us a little bit about what kind of things you've got coming up, what you're working on, etc. What kind of things, hopefully, our lovely wealth of listeners will be listening to.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes, absolutely. So I've got quite a few things lined up. Me being very much full of lots of ideas, and so I've got to kind of really have to take a measured approach on that and how I sort of prioritize what's coming next. But I do have a few things lined up. So I'm hoping in November I'm going to be doing some values workshops online. That will be an opportunity to be open for people to jump on, and it'll be a really nice opportunity for people to connect with their values again. I think
That is brilliant. Yeah,
that,
I love that values work. That's really, really
yeah,
beneficial, I think. So if anybody hasn't, even if you have done your values in
yeah,
the past,
absolutely.
I would definitely invite people who have done their values to come on again, because I don't know about you, Riz, but my values have changed over my life.
Oh,
And I think that's a really good way of doing
oh
it.
God,
So,
yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
I
so yeah.
absolutely. I mean, I thought I valued freedom, but apparently, when I did the elicitation in terms of the order of which ones I valued the most, for me it was self-reliance is what's the most important thing. Which was another. Again, we could do another podcast on that, couldn't we?
Oh gosh, yeah.
But then,
Any of these values, yeah.
but it sort of ties in with leadership. You've got to be a little bit self-reliant when you're a leader, anyway. But I guess
Mm.
in terms of ventures, I've got some work that I'm going to be doing with a charity, and I'm going to be doing that face to face. So it's a combination of online stuff, face to face stuff.
Mm.
I'm hoping once I've got everything up and line and all my ducks line up, I'm hoping to do a little bit of a 3-day kind of purposeful professional experience, maybe in the new year, just so that we can really sort of support professionals to connect with their inner genius, reset, allow them to come into their kind of growth zone, really stretch support them with that whole stretching, and then connecting with their excellence, and then unlocking that inner genius that a lot of us have. But unfortunately, like you're saying, it can be stowed away for a very, very long time, and we
Mm.
can't connect with it, can we? So,
No, no, and I love that. I love that you want to, you know, help those professionals, because everybody, certainly from my experience, everybody has different career paths. Because the career path isn't just about the job; it's about the person doing the job. Um,
absolutely.
and and again, we could talk about that forever, but I love that. So I'll be excited to see your official kickoff for that. And,
Yes, yes. At the minute, it's all just gathering information,
yeah,
enjoying the journey,
yeah,
getting over the blocks around the technology side of things.
yeah. Like we've had today.
Like we've
I
had
mean, my
today.
goodness. Nobody would know unless we mentioned it. But I'm going to mention it anyway, because if people have listened this long, they probably know that we've definitely had some technology challenges
Oh,
today.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
And as we're recording this, if I turn this off and it doesn't save, I'm going to cry. you know, so
It's all right.
um,
At least we'll know how to log back on without any issues.
until next time, clearly,
Yes,
um,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. But yeah,
Oh,
I mean, yeah, that's kind of where the purposeful professional has come from, and yeah, I'm really excited about where it will go and what it will look like. I have a bit of a vision in my mind. Don't know how I'm going to get there, but we'll take some steps one day at a time. We'll keep falling forward.
yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that. Keep falling forward. Yeah. And then, if I'm not mistaken, you've also got another event coming up this week as
Yes,
well. I mean,
absolutely.
although
I've got
although by the time this is actually promoted, it'll probably be done. But so
yeah, I'll be
yeah.
yeah, I've started yeah, absolutely. I'm doing the coffee cup and coaching conversations on Facebook Live. That's at the moment is invites only, but I'm hoping to open that up once I become that little bit more confident on the tech stuff. And I'm
Mhm.
hoping to be like yourself, Sue. I'm hoping to invite professionals to have a bit of a conversation, maybe do a little bit of coaching on that, and enjoy a beverage really on a Sunday. Because unfortunately, I did a poll on my stories on Instagram, and
Mm.
60% of people were dreading Monday. And I thought, oh my God, like, wow, that's like 52 Mondays a year, unless you're on holiday, that you dread Mondays. There's something a little bit more deeper than going on there, isn't there?
I do, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as somebody who has been in the corporate world for well over 20 years, I would say I still get the Sunday scaries, even though
Yeah.
I actually technically can choose what I do on the Sunday, because on the Monday, because I'm quite happy to do that. And also, I feel that I get the fun Friday. The world seems a better place on Friday, and
Yeah.
that's because everybody seems to feel that way. So it'd be interesting to see that. And I really hope that with your coffee cup and coaching session that you get a number of people show up. But equally, I think if anybody else is listening to this and they've done stuff like that before, don't be disheartened if it's just you and one other or something like
Oh,
that,
God,
because as you
yeah,
say,
no,
it takes
absolutely.
time, doesn't it?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I'm planning on being there to support you, so I will be there with my little pom poms, etc.
Yeah, yeah, you
um,
be there. That
you
would be great. That would be
know,
amazing.
just because I think sometimes it can help to have somebody on the comments, etc. And doing that. But yes, I've got a Facebook Live on my one on Friday.
Right.
I don't know why I decided Friday evening was a good idea for me, but I thought it might help give people a good start to the weekend. I think that's what I hope.
Absolutely. And also the other thing is that even if there's nobody there, a lot of people catch the replays and
Hmm.
gain something from it, even if they're not there in person at that moment in time. So yeah, we'll see what happens. It will be interesting to say the least. If not, we'll just sit there and laugh at one another.
Yeah, yeah. Or I'll just keep spamming you with like love hearts or something on Facebook. I don't know. I don't know what it'll be. You know, I don't want to break it. But yeah, it's been an interesting time with the tech on this side as well. So let's hope that's not going to be the same for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm going to embrace whatever comes my way, Sue. I've realised
Yeah,
that whatever's going to happen is going to happen. At the end of the day, it's all fun, right? I'm not doing this because I need to get anywhere too quickly. This is all about the learning and embracing it and being purposeful with it, right?
absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's a brilliant way to sort of end it, if that's okay with you,
That's
because
absolutely
I've
fine.
realised that we've been chatting for it's been great. It's been absolutely brilliant, and so thank you so much for coming on and for sharing your real real transformational journey. I look forward to seeing what's going to happen with you in the future.
Oh, thank
And
you. Thank you for having me on. This is the first time I've done a podcast. I hope I've done it justice.
oh no, I think you have done great, and I will say to our listeners, thanks so much for joining us. And if the episode has sparked something in you, or you want to hear more, either whether from myself or from Riz, then we will put our social media links and platforms, etc., and details in the episode description. And we will make sure that we stay in touch, and we will update people as we go on. So, but yeah, I think what I will do is I'll say, until next time, the great thing to do is to stay grounded, stay curious, and keep living authentically. So thanks very much, Riz, and I'll catch up with you again. So yeah, have a good day, everybody.
Take care. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.